Greetings, church. It's Kevin DUCLAIRON. It is August 1st, 2018, and I really wish this update was good, but it's really not good. I am right now on MLK, next to the I think it's the Morrison Bridge, so I'm in the downtown area. I'm not in the downtown area where I usually preach the gospel. This is more or less the area where I have my storage facility, and they're doing some construction around the corner there. So this is where I'm at. So I'm on the other side of the river, on the east side of the river, doing this video here. And what I have under my arms is just basically the beginning of the files that I put in here throughout the month if I have something important. And basically, I gotta tell you, this is one of the hardest issues I've ever had to deal with. Yesterday, I preached the gospel in Pioneer Square Park, on 5th Avenue, across the street from Pioneer Square Mall, and I preached for about 40 minutes or so, 44 minutes, 45 minutes or so. After, while I was preaching, a man walked by and called me an asshole, and I said, I'm not an asshole for preaching the word of God. Then they sent, and I'm assuming it was the LGBTQ community, then they sent this African-American woman. I don't know who she was. I've never met her before. I'd never seen her before, but the woman was pissed off. I mean, she was just irate, and she, for whatever purpose or reason, she summed up how they felt about me, and just the amount of hatred that was in them against me for preaching the gospel, because they were saying that I was preaching the gospel of hate, and that I wasn't a gay and I didn't understand, and I thought, you know, if this woman had heard me read Romans chapter 1 and explain what the chapter was saying, she would have understood where God was coming from. I basically say God is looking for clean people. You know, he's not looking for whores and homosexuals to go in and out of his kingdom. He's looking for men and women who are pure and who are clean, filled with the Holy Spirit. She was at a distance, so she couldn't hear me. So she came back and sort of kind of like got in my face, not directly in my face, but close enough so that she was really short, about 5'4". So she didn't get in my face, but she made it obvious enough so that I would know she didn't approve of the sermon from Romans chapter 1. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't write Romans. You understand? All I am is a preacher delivering the message of God from the epistle of Rome, which Paul wrote to the church of Rome. This is what God is saying to man. You have a problem. My wrath is upon you. And when my wrath comes out through you, it comes out in the form of sin. And the only way for my wrath not to come out through you is for you to repent, turn around, and call upon my name, or acknowledge the fact that you're sinful and that my wrath is coming out through you, so I can forgive you of your sin and you can receive the Holy Spirit. That's all I was saying. But she took it personal, and she took it to heart, and she walked away. She cussed me out, and I was just like, you know, there's nothing I could do. This isn't my gospel. It's God's gospel. It's not my message. It's God's message. It's not my issue. It is my issue, the wrath of God coming through me every time I sin, but it's all of our issues. So she took it personal, and I wasn't trying to offend her or the community, but I think they misunderstand that God means what he says he means. On that note, after talking to her, I went to PSU. After talking to her, I went and dropped off everything. Went to have dinner at one of the homeless shelters, and then I made my way to PSU. And when I got to the 5th floor, right, I usually bring a bottle of hot water that helps with the flow. After using the restroom real quick, I didn't have to go. After using the restroom real quick, I went to sit. I was going to go to the 2nd floor. Melinda says, you better not go to the 2nd floor. There's going to be altercations there with people on the 2nd floor, because I've been copying theological words from some of the theological books at the PSU library. So she says, why don't you go ahead and have a seat on the 5th floor? There was a man sitting there who was a replica of Robert Powell, the man that played the role of Jesus. I was kind of taken back by that. He was tall, thin, bearded, and he was sitting on the side. And I'm like, man, you know, if I had the nerve, I would ask him, are you Jesus? Or are you a representative of his? But I didn't. I left him alone. I sat down for about 5 minutes, and as soon as I sat down, I could feel my eyes getting heavy because I was sitting directly underneath a fan. It didn't look like a fan, but that's what it was. I was sitting underneath this fan, and I fell asleep. And lo and behold, I wake up, and I was given a blowjob. I'm like, good Lord, man, right in front of Jesus? You're going to suck my dick? And I'm thinking, what gives? I was pissed off. It was 8:30. This happened within the time frame of 8 p.m. and 8:30. I was just sitting there at the window looking outside, and they came out. The Jesus guy was just getting up and leaving when I woke up. And I was just like, man, this is so humiliating that this is happening to me at this library and everywhere I go. Anyway, long story short, I leave and I go in front of McDonald's and I'm holding up these signs and they start coming out. So I move from McDonald's into this other Brazilian store, and I'm talking and I'm defending myself and basically telling the American people, you guys are a bunch of phony balonies. You put on all these airs of superiority, but when we're really dealing with you or dealing with the issues, it's all fake, right? And when you want to get real, it becomes violent or it becomes hate. That's the only time where it becomes real. It becomes violent, hate, or sexual. So they ignored me, and I went to Powell's bookstore and did some other things, and I ended up falling asleep on 12 in Yamhill. So I camped out again in my sleeping bag because I can't get into an apartment unless this case is resolved, and this case is not resolved. Oh God. So I'm sleeping on 12 in Yamhill, and Gabrielle comes out on me. She sexually assaults me again, like at PSU and all the other times. So I'm thinking to myself, oh God, this is really painful. Here I am sitting on 12, and one street over is First Baptist Church on my right, on my left, and on my right is another church where a woman is the pastor there. And I'm thinking to myself, God, how could this be? I'm in between two churches. I leave Grace Community Church just so that I could be raped and molested by this woman. And here I am sleeping on the ground on a cardboard in a sleeping bag because the church has ousted me, not because I turned from the Christian faith, but because this woman wants to suck on my penis. I'm thinking, Jesus, when is this thing going to be over? So I'm at the top of my lungs, pissed off at the fact that this is happening again. I'm rebuking the churches. I'm rebuking John MacArthur and Grace Community Church, and I'm rebuking the churches because of the fact that they never helped me with the situation. So as I'm talking, this man, I don't know who he was. I don't know if he was black. I don't know if he was white. I don't know what race, color, nationality that he was. They sent him to catch my attention. He asked me a question. I don't remember what my answer was. As I'm talking, a police officer drives by going north, and I'm thinking, okay, the police department is in the area. I start preaching from Proverbs 3, 5 through 7. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from sin. I begin to use that passage to correct the situation that I was in. And I tell them, and I'm talking to John MacArthur and Gabriel Franklin, Jonathan Szabo, and now the police department, the LGBT community, and everybody behind there, and telling them that God calls us to trust in the Lord, not to trust in a woman. To trust in the Lord, not to trust in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer community, and so on and so forth. 2 minutes later, a police car drives up to the sidewalk where I'm at, and lo and behold, who comes out of it is Officer Dunlap. The same guy that I had an altercation with, the same guy that I had, now they just sent me a Guy Franklin representative and a Gabriel Franklin representative, so I got to get the hell out of this area before any more occurs. So I'm talking, So I'm talking to this. So they send in Officer Dunlap. Officer Dunlap is my enemy because Officer Dunlap in their LGBTQ community represents Gabriel Franklin and the Queen of England. This is the mentality that they're trying to ingrain in my head as a homosexual. And I'm thinking, I'm a Christian. I'm not a homosexual. I don't see these people this way. This Dunlap gets out of his car and gets right in my face. And I'm thinking, I cannot stand the face of Gabriel Franklin or this fucking queen. Why do I have to endure this? So he's like, you need to leave right now. You need to get out of here. And he grabs my green backpack and he's telling me, I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to put you in the hospital. I'm going to put you in jail because you're too loud. And I'm thinking, Dunlap, there's nobody out here. There's not even a housing facility in the area. The place is desolate. This is like the desert. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and there's no one here. I think it was like 3 a.m. and there's nobody here. What are you talking about? I'm by myself, sitting on the ground, putting my stuff away. What are you talking about? I'm dealing with the issue that these people have given me. So we go back and forth. He becomes more threatening. He snatches my bag and he threatens me. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Shoot me? Kill me? He's trying to intimidate me. This goes on for about 15 minutes. And he's like, you need to get out of here. You need to leave right now. Or else, I'm like, or else what? You're going to kill me? You're going to shoot me? You're going to beat me? You're going to treat me like Rodney King? And he was by himself. So he gets in my face trying to make it as if like he was going to do something. And I'm like, you can't. I think I quoted him the First Amendment, the freedom of religion. And he's like, no, you don't have any freedom. And I'm thinking, yes, I do under this Constitution. So long story short, I start walking away. He snatches the bag from me. He's like, I'm taking this. I'm taking you to jail. I'm like, no, you're not, because I didn't commit a crime. He's like, I'm going to take you to prison or I'm going to put you in the hospital. He keeps making threats. I'm like, no, I'm not. I pick up my stuff to get out of the area. And as I'm crossing the street, he's following me. As I'm walking away, he's following me. 2 cop cars come out of nowhere. And I'm like, this officer is threatening me. So a white officer, Dunlap is not European. Dunlap is either Hawaiian, Native American, Asian, mixed with some sort of dark color because he's my complexion. I have no idea who sent him, but I believe he belongs to the LGBTQ community because of the resemblance. So he's probably a homosexual whom they put there on purpose to antagonize. I think what he wanted me to do was to swing at him so that he can pull out his gun and shoot me. I believe that was his intent. So I think there's a specific word for it where it's like aggravated assault. I think that's what it is. Aggravated assault, where a police officer is aggravating a civilian so that the civilian could hit and then he then has a jurisdiction to shoot. Sort of like Jason Washington. In other words, the police the police agitated Jason. Jason went for his revolver, and in the process, the police gunned him down. The problem is, I don't have a revolver anymore. The one that I had was confiscated 10 years ago by the Seattle Police Department. So here we are, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of 12 and Yam Hill, going at it. No, I don't know if there was any church members watching, if any homeless community people saw it. All I know, it was 3 police officers against me, and the only one that I had an altercation with was Dunlap. Dunlap has it in his system to gun me down, but it doesn't stop there. I'm walking away and I'm still defending the position because I'm pissed off at the fact that I couldn't make a police report with Dunlap, at the fact that this woman sexually assaults me. So I go down to Pioneer Square Park. It's 3:34 in the morning. And I'm standing there and I'm sitting there talking to myself or talking to the community that's in the background because they're still out. They weren't in. Dunlap couldn't hear them, but I know them. MacArthur, Franklin, Zabo, and whoever else was there in that group. So as I'm talking, the security guard, a female who has her hair like this, the security guard, they sent a female security guard, and I guess she was on her break. She comes back from break, puts on her uniform, and she asks me to get off of the Pioneer Square Park Square because from, I think like from like midnight to 5 a.m., it's completely closed to the public. So I give her my testimony, explain what the problem was, and I leave. but I noticed that they were from a distance, I could still see that they were out. The police department, Dunlap drives by. So I'm thinking I can't go in. So I go to 7th and Yamhill, not 7th and Morrison, and I'm standing there across the street from Starbucks, and I'm talking. As I'm talking, several, I mean, they were dropping me hints. They sent me thugs, African-American thugs, to me, which was a threat. They communicated a bunch of stuff through people driving back and forth, the Klan, the police department. Dunlap drives by a second time, and I'm standing there for like an hour talking, and he says, I'm your friend, and he has this big smile on his face. Yeah, and we're friends again, you know, something like that. And I told him, you and I will never be friends, Dunlap. I communicated a bunch of stuff to the public. I don't remember what I communicated to them. I leave 7th and Morrison. I go to 6th and Yamhill, and I pick up the phone. I call the police, and I reported the altercation with Dunlap on 12th and Yamhill, and the fact that he just came out again on 7th and Morrison. The police department begins to twist my words as I'm in this 911 call. Finally, I end up hanging up on the guy after I reported Dunlap and told him, you need to contact Danielle, her name is Danielle Outlaw, the chief of police. So I tell them, you need to contact Danielle Outlaw, the chief of police. As soon as I hung up the phone, there was a white woman who was the exact replica of Danielle Outlaw standing across the street from me at the Pioneer Square Park smoking a cigarette. When I noticed the resemblance, I'm like, the chief of police is behind this whole thing? You mean to tell me she knew all of this was going on? Look who's driving by. Look at that. Portland Police. So I'm thinking the chief of police knew all of this was going on. Anyway, I sit down at the TriMet bus stop station, and I start talking, to defend myself because they were still out. I talked till about 6 o'clock in the morning. So from 3 to 6, I'm defending myself against these people. They sent 2 Klansmen to stand behind me and to talk against me. Oh God. So I have to defend myself now against the coup who is behind me. They went and so I move, and then they send me this guy, this white guy who has a black eye, looked like somebody punched him in the eye. I have no idea who. So I move from the TriMet, and I go to the middle of the street, the sidewalk, and I read them from the Constitution. I think the First Amendment, the First Amendment, the 13th Amendment, and I think also the 14th Amendment. I think those are the 3 amendments that I read them. I read them some scripture, and I defended my position all the time I was there. Long story short, 6 a.m. I go get some coffee, eat some breakfast, and I go into the post office. When I get to the post office, I get this mail. This is a real. I get this mail, and this is a shock. I had completely, and this is from the district court. The district court, right? So I get this letter from the district court, the United States District Court. And to me, this is a duplicate. When you look at it, it's not the original. To me, this is a duplicate of the original. This is basically asking me for $350 in filing fees because I had filed a complaint against MacArthur. This is LGBTQ community, Grace Community Church, Jonathan Zabel, all of these people. I'm not sure if you can see it right there. Okay, so I filed a complaint against them on June 21st of this year. I don't believe this is the original copy. I believe that the original copy had been confiscated by MacArthur. And as a result of today's altercation, starting from 2 o'clock in the morning and on, because this morning she only got to do that once, not 3 times. Apparently, there was a notice sent to me, which was due on July 16th, and I didn't respond to it. So they wrote it here in the letter. And the letter states that the plaintiff filed this lawsuit on June 21st. However, he filed neither the filing fee, which is for $400, that is the $350 for the application, and $50 for the administrative fee, which is what it states here in page 1. This is a shock. $400 to file a lawsuit against a sex offender in the state of Oregon. Shocking. So in any case, so it says here that the plaintiff, which is me, I filed this lawsuit on June 21st, 2018. However, I filed neither a filing fee nor an application to proceed in forma pauperis, which was due on July 16, 2018. So they gave me almost a month to either pay the $400 or to fill out an informa pauperis, which is an application waiving. This is the application here. An application waiving the fact that I can pay the amount. Now here it is, 2 other times. Now they just sent me an African American, and I don't know who he represents. He's here at the bus stop, but I don't want nothing to do with those people because they're not a free people. I don't want nothing to do with them. So he came out, and I'm not gonna. Anyway, so this is the this is what I was supposed to fill out. Now 2 times before, September 27, 2012, I had filled out the complaint against MacArthur and Franklin, and I have filled this out again in July 26, 2013. I had filled out the application and also this to waive the fee, and they dismissed the case. So both times before, when I filled out that application to waive the fee, it didn't go through. So the first time, September 27, 2012, Judge Hubble dismissed the case. July 26, 2013, Judge Simon dismissed the case. Now I get a letter from U.S. Magistrate Judge John Acosta, right here, John Acosta, and they want to charge me $400. The court, I guess the case is scheduled for August 20th of this month, 2018, but I have to pay $400 in order for the case to proceed, and I don't even have a lawyer. So this is where it went. After leaving the courthouse and getting all this information, the Lord directed me to the Portland Police Department. So when I go there, I was supposed to file a try to file a complaint against Dunlap. It didn't work. They directed me to IPR. When I told them I couldn't go to IPR, they directed me to the mayor's office. The mayor's office didn't take it and sent me to the sheriff department on this side, because they're all the government offices are on the other side. So they sent me to the sheriff department over here, 501 Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard, on the 4th floor, Suite 350. And the sheriff department say, well, we can't take any complaints on any the police officers, so you're going to have to go to the Justice Department. So they send me a woman. To show me where the Justice Community Department is. So as I'm going down from the 3rd floor, room 350, and the man that I talked to, I spoke to 2 men, 2 white men, 2 Europeans. One of them represents, I think, Jonathan Szabo. The other one represents a man, get this, a man from the homeless community who was an exact replica. He could have been his father. And I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't make sense. So these people, we're sending these people in the government offices, the sheriff department, we're sending people to represent them in the homeless community, and I did not know it. So as I'm talking to this guy, I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous, this is not happening. So he says, well, we can't do anything in this office. We're limited as to what we can do. We can't take a police report against Dunlap. Mayor's office couldn't take a police report against Dunlap. IPR wouldn't take a police report against Dunlap because they barred me out of there. So then I go to the Justice Department, and when I get to the Justice Department, the 2 people there are representing who? Gabrielle Franklin. So I thought to myself, oh my God, this is not happening. So after talking to them for 5 minutes, and they twisted the whole thing. After explaining to them everything that has happened, the woman gives me 2 applications, and the applications is for parole officers. I'm thinking I'm trying to file a police report against a police officer who assaulted me, right? Because he was grabbing my backpack and stepping on my left foot. He wouldn't stop, and he was threatening me. So they give me 2 applications, and that's when I realized this is a bunch of bullshit. American government are a bunch of bullshitters who get, 4 different, offices where they lie to you, they cheat you, they take your money, and for me, in my mind, when I pay this $400, guess who I'm paying? I'm paying Gabrielle Franklin for all the dick sucking that she did this year. When I pay this $400, I'm paying for sex service, involuntary servitude. This is what this is all about. The fact that it says in the 13th Amendment that slavery and involuntary servitude is not supposed to be in the United States. All the time that she's asking me for sex, and I'm saying no. I'm rejecting involuntary servitude. I'm saying no, I don't want to serve you sexually. I don't want to be in between your legs. All the time, the gay community's been asking me to go and have sex with their asses and their dicks. I'm rejecting involuntary servitude. I'm thinking this is ridiculous. This shouldn't be happening. I need a lawyer. Well, I walked away thinking, oh my God, why have you done this to me? Why have you forsaken me? Because this is a bunch of bullshit. These people are still not free. African Americans are still not free in this country if this is the runaround they're giving me. And I'm a foreigner. I wasn't even born here. How much more those that are homegrown? They don't even get to go into the side of the Justice Department. They don't even get to go inside of the courthouses. I don't even understand this anymore. I throw my hands up and I'm thinking, how the hell do you resolve this kind of a conflict with these people? I come into the storage facility and she's on the intercom. You tell me, church. You tell me. John MacArthur's behind this. Franklin is behind this. You tell me. Where does it go from here? Where does it go from here? So this is how we're beginning the month of August. And yesterday, what did I preach on? Romans 1, 18 through 32, right? That all of the evil and all of the wicked things that these people are doing is a manifestation of God's wrath coming through them. The homosexuality, the fornication, the adultery, the hatred, the violence, the whole tidbit. I gotta get going. People are here at the bus stop, and I'm running out of juice in my battery. So I don't know, church. If you want to pray, you can pray. Pray for MacArthur's salvation because he's not a saint. Pray for Gabrielle because she's up Schitt's Creek without a battle, without a paddle. And pray for me because I don't know where this is gonna go from here. I don't see August as being a good month. I don't know how the year is going to end, and I'm not done with printing out 2017, paying off, and I think the reason why they're charging me the $400 is so that I don't print the 2017, and register 2017, the videos, the books, the manuscript. Right? I don't know how many pages is the manuscript. I think that's the reason why they're charging me the $400. It's a joke. It's a fiasco. It's MacArthur's little toy. You know, this is what Master Seminary. You know, their motto is, "We train men as if lives depend on it." Their motto is not to train Christian men to be godly leaders. Their motto is to take internationals and turn them into butt-fucking homosexuals. To take internationals to turn them into subordinates to white women, gay black women who submit to white supremacy. That's what MacArthur and his staff is all about. That's what Grace Community Church is all about. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm running all over the place, accomplishing absolutely nothing.